Hi, welcome to our demo today on Insight's Asset and Configuration Management, part of the Jira Service Management product. This demo is brought to you by ISO's Technology, the #1 enterprise level platinum solution partner in the United States. Thank you for joining me today. I am Nick Nader. I am the solution engineer here on the ISO's Technology sales team, and I'll be walking you through this demo today. If you have any questions, definitely don't hesitate to go to our website and reach out to the sales team via chat or email me directly. Let's jump right in. So Insight Asset Management was acquired by Atlassian earlier this year, and they've now tied it into the premium tier of their Jira Service Management product. So if you have that premium tier license, you get all of this Insight Asset Management functionality. It has its own little drop down up here in the top. It used to be a third-party vendor app on the marketplace, so it'll also reside still in that marketplace, but it comes with that premium tier. And it's structured and was developed similar to the structure, kind of Jira projects and issue types. You have object schemas, and you can define as many object schemas within the Insight tool as you would like. Here we have hardware and software object schemas, so it is often marketed for kind of hardware devices as well as software configuration items. But those aren't the only use cases. We've seen this used to map your entire Jira configuration and kind of see a hierarchical structure of that Jira configuration and be able to manage that. We've also seen it used in higher education and universities, mapping things like student and faculty, or just organizations mapping their internal organizational structure. So showing, what employees report to what managers and what those direct reports look like, and we can then use that in things like the approval schemes within your workflows. Now, over here on our left-hand side, we have that hierarchical structure, that basically tree of different objects, and each one of these different objects is an object type that we've defined within our object schema. So you can define those object types quite easily. You do that by defining their name, an icon, and whether they're a parent or a child of another object type. And then once you've done that, you go into the object type, like our laptops object here, and you define what they call attributes. And these are essentially all the criteria surrounding that specific object type. And you can think of these kind of like, Jira issue fields. And then the object types are kind of like Jira issues, and the object schema are kind of like Jira projects. So once we've defined our, laptops object here, we'll define it even further with all of these attributes, and they have several different attribute types. The default attribute type is going to include a lot of your values here, from booleans to IP addresses and dates. And then they have some other unique attribute types like other objects, and this is going to be where you're able to reference and create dependencies between the different object types within your schema. This is where we've pointed our laptops towards the other objects like manufacturer and operating system, so we can say, hey, this laptop is running this specific operating system, Windows 7, and since it's a Lenovo, it's pointing at the Lenovo manufacturer. So we can kind of define the relationships between those different objects, and we can even create specific references between those objects over here in the additional values column. We can define custom references, so we have these as technical references. You can have financial references. You can define these however you'd like, and then have a color coordination for them as well. So that's the object attribute type. And then we also have user and group attribute types. This is how you kind of associate assets with specific Jira users. The user field allows you to grab users from, your entire Atlassian Access, user management system. So you can pull them, from that LDAP directory that's synced with Atlassian Access. You'll basically have the ability to associate assets with any of the users within your Jira instance. Same goes for groups, except it's groups of users. And then the status attribute is a custom attribute as well, where you can define custom statuses that are on those specific objects. So if we jump back to our laptop objects here in this nice list view, we can see that this one has an assigned status, so we know it's assigned out to somebody, and we can see that that somebody is Mitch Davis here. So this is kind of like the Jira issue view. So this object view is going to show you, all of your laptop objects if we're clicked on laptops, and we can drill through each of the laptop objects. We can see all of the details, so all of those attribute values here in the details panel. Right below that, we have a full activity stream, so we can see everything that's happening, associated with that actual object. And then over here on the right-hand side, we've got some dates, inbound references, which you'll see over here on our manufacturers is showing, when objects are pointing at this specific object. So Apple is getting pointed at by 4 different laptops, and we can very quickly see, we have 4 different MacBooks that we have defined and are pointing at the Apple manufacturer. If we jump back to laptops here real quick, we can also drill into maybe this one, I believe, has connected Jira issues as well. So down here in the bottom right, this will show all of the issues that have been opened up against this asset as well. And the way we really do that is we push these different object types into custom fields within Jira. So we do that at the Jira administration level. There is a custom field type called Insight Object, which I'll show here in a second, that allows us to push and define dynamically which objects we would like in that custom field and then be shown within that custom field kind of as a drop down. And that's kind of how we service them all the way to customers of our help desks and things like that, which we'll show here in the demo. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here before we jump over to kind of that configuration is you can also see the dependencies of your entire object schema here in this graph view. So you can see all those references. You can see the dependencies and the connections between all of your objects here. And you can move them around and see that, hey, these are the technical references, whereas these are links, and maybe we've got financial dependencies between some of these, depending on what we've defined as those custom references. You can also do this at the object level, so we can always look at the laptops graph and how laptops connect to all of our different objects, or we can look at the specific objects object graph, and we can see how this Lenovo ThinkPad is connected and what it references and what operating system it's running and everything like that. Now, the way that we push these into custom fields, like I mentioned a second ago, is utilizing a specific custom field type. So if we look at our laptop's custom field here, we will see that the type is an Insight Objects type. So all you have to do when you're creating a custom field is go to all here and then type in Insight, and you'll see the Insight Objects custom field type here. So you'll select that one, and then once you've defined the name of it, you'll come in and go to contexts and default value. And this is where you're able to specify exactly what objects you want to push into this custom field. Insight created their own query language, just like the Jira query language, called Insight Query Language, of course. And this is where we can define our object type as all of our laptops. So we can get more granular with this, and we can say, hey, let's grab all of our laptop object types that are also assigned to the current user. So we could add, assigned user, which I believe is the attribute, equals current user, like this. And if we were then to save this, it would dynamically show only the laptops that are associated with the currently logged in user. So we can very granularly and dynamically surface these different objects within custom fields to things like those forms on your help desk portal, so that when a user logs in and they click that drop down that says laptops, they'll only see the laptops that they have on their desk right now that are associated with their user. So it's great for provisioning out laptops. It's great for employees that already have devices that maybe want upgrades or having an issue with their laptop, and they need to open up a help desk request against that specific asset. There's also a couple other configuration items here, as you can see, so you can get pretty granular with how we service these in the custom fields. Now, to go over to that use case, from the customer portal, we then just essentially add that custom field, to our different request types. So if we drill into our IT help desk requests here and we go to get IT help, we'll see that laptops field is here within this form. So if we're having an issue with our Lenovo laptop, my Lenovo ThinkPad won't update its operating system. I think it is running Windows 7. Oh, if I can find the 7 key. We'll say we're having problems getting it updated to the latest version. And then we'll get this nice drop down of all of our laptops within our asset database. And you can surface these with different information. I don't know if you guys caught that real quick here in the configuration screen. But you can say, hey, let's show the name, status, and the assigned user for all of these objects within that drop down. Or let's show additional things. So when you're searching it and we look in this drop down, we can see, hey, this one's assigned and it's assigned out to Mitch Davis, or this one's assigned and assigned out to me. And I'll know this is my Lenovo ThinkPad. So we can either dynamically surface it for the logged in user, or we can just surface a lot of those attributes and information surrounding those objects so the users know exactly which object they need to grab. And then once we send that in, we'll of course see that external customer view of the request. What I want to do is drill into the internal side of that request though, and show that agent view and what they're going to see now that we've attached a laptop to this request. So we have that internal issue view here. Everybody should be familiar with this if you've seen Jira. It looks like any other Jira issue, but we now have this Insight object laptop attached in this laptops field, and we can very quickly hit this nice caret and we can see all of those attributes surrounding that laptop. We can see that it is running Microsoft Windows 7 Professional. Maybe we drill over into that operating system and we see things surrounding that object because it's another object defined within our schema. Or maybe we want to look at everything that's connected to the specific laptop that's in question, so we can very quickly see that graph here. We can even drill into all of its past requests, so it looks like there's been a lot of things opened up against this laptop. So maybe we need to drill into one of those past requests and see if it was resolved or see if it caused this issue as well. So we can see kind of everything surrounding that specific object here within the issue view. We can also add additional objects if we would like to here within Jira issue view if we're an agent and maybe we need to attach the operating system object or something like that to the issue. We can always do that as well. So it goes all the way from that customer portal to the internal Jira issue view, and it's all populating from that original database that we showed here. Now we can also do some things within the object schema view here, like filter through all of our objects, based off of the attributes themselves. So maybe by status, we want to see all of the assigned attribute or assigned laptops that are assigned out, or maybe we want to look at all the ones that need maintenance or something like that. So if you do have a long list of maybe 1,000 different laptops within this object type, it's very easy to search through those with this drop down. They also have an advanced search, so you can use that Insight query language and write out that syntax line for more specific filters, like date specific filters and things like that. So a lot of autonomy here and a lot of flexibility is very similar to how Jira is structured when it comes to kind of that Jira filtering system. Now, a couple other things that they have released recently is associating or pushing Insight objects into the Jira automation engine. So you're always able to kind of leverage those objects, update those objects, edit those attributes on those objects with automation rules. So maybe we need to do regular maintenance on an asset like a laptop, or we need to regularly update the operating system object within our asset database. We can always have scheduled Jira issues that represent that maintenance, spun up on a cadence like monthly or maybe quarterly, where we dig into those laptops and update them. And so we can kind of tie in all those objects and assets into that automation engine and automate some of that process as well. So a lot of cool things coming out with Insight. They're really natively tying it into the product itself, trying to tie it into that automation engine as much as they can, really improving the importing functionality, which was a big pain point for the tool prior to their acquisition. So definitely keep an ear to the ground for all of those updates that are coming out on that public cloud roadmap. That's everything I had to show today. Thank you so much for joining me for this demo. Again, if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to go to our website at isostech.com, open up a chat with one of our sales representatives, or email me directly and ask me questions. I will definitely respond as quickly as I can. Thank you so much.